Let's talk about those $5,000 stimulus checks that many people are needing at this time. Right now, there is a lot of speculation that Doge is not going to reach their $2 trillion goal. And honestly, that might not matter. According to multiple reports, there is now discussions of a potential stimulus outside of Doge entirely. So I want to explain what's going on here, why there's a new discussion happening, what has changed over the past few weeks, and why you actually could get multiple stimulus checks moving forward in 2025 and in 2026. So I'll explain what's going on in just a moment. But before I do, all I ask is one thing. It takes 2 seconds. Go ahead, hit that like button if you enjoy these daily updates. And now let's begin. So yes, it is crazy to think that today, on March 27th, 2025, we are still discussing stimulus checks. This was something we were receiving back in 2020 and 2021. But what are we doing talking about stimulus checks in 2025? Well, it has a lot to do with the current state of the economy. That's one. The amount of money that taxpayers have been charged over the past several years, and actually several decades, and all that money that's been wasted. That's two. And a third one, the higher probability that the United States ends up in a recession. That is what lawmakers are currently discussing, and economists say this may be needed, a stimulus check to get us through. Look at this right here. This is what President Trump announced just the other day. A 25% tariff on foreign-made cars. He also went as far as announcing that he wants to make interest payments for auto loans tax deductible if we purchase cars that are made here in the United States. But again, this is just part of it. Tariffs are just part of it. Tariffs will work. According to multiple sources, many economists believe tariffs will work, but it's going to be painful. That pain, that timeline, that's going to drag on. Some say the pain that we are going to experience because of these tariffs, the rising costs, and people losing their jobs, the pain could go on for the entire 2025 year. Okay, we got 9 more months left. And some say it's going to be just as painful in 2026, or at least the start. Listen to this though. According to James Fishback, he's the original creator of this $5,000 Doge stimulus. He says he's currently in talks with lawmakers in Washington, along with President Trump and Elon Musk, who's kind of the head of Doge. He says a proposal is eventually going to come, but he's not sure how or when this gets through. According to him, and according to multiple sources, says it would likely need to be passed through a budget reconciliation where Republicans do not rely on Democratic votes. Now, this budget reconciliation is something that they're already looking at doing, but that is to extend the 2017 Tax Cuts and Jobs Act. But according to multiple sources, they say this is not the way to go. The Tax Cuts and Jobs Act would actually hurt us. Look at this. It says extending the Trump tax cuts, it's essentially the same thing, would harm the economy and raise consumer borrowing costs while pushing up debt. Yes, it would push up debt a little bit, okay, but we could pay for that. But what it says is it's going to harm the economy and raise consumer borrowing costs. Yes, it will. It's going to harm the economy, okay, temporarily, okay. Certain aspects of this would. But if we don't do this, then the American people are going to pay more in taxes. Our tax rate is going to go up, and many people cannot afford that. Now, here's the big issue. What President Trump said over the past several weeks is that it's going to be painful. We know this. It's going to be painful, but it's something that's needed to be done. Now, some economists say that if we push for tariffs, it's going to raise prices. At the same time, Doge is trying to make cuts to the federal government. And by making cuts to the federal government, it's gonna cancel out many tech contracts. We're gonna see a real estate sell-off. We're gonna see issues. Look at this. It says the probability of a recession is approaching 50%. Okay, but let me read you this one as well. It says recession is coming before the end of 2025. Generally pessimistic corporate CFOs say. Now, I want to read you what they're talking about though. Look at this right here. It says, in a word, the pessimism has crept back in where the animal spirits had been after Trump's election. That's one way to sum up the results from the latest CNBC CFO Council quarterly survey for Q1 2025. While some chief financial officers said Trump is doing what he promised on the campaign trail, many CFOs said the way he is going about delivering on his agenda is not what was expected. It's too chaotic for business to navigate effectively, and it's extreme, disruptive, aggressive, and a wild ride. That's how they're putting it. Here you go. It all adds up to a majority of CFOs, 60%, saying they expect a recession in the second half of this year. Another 15% say a recession will hit in 2026. This is why economists and multiple lawmakers have said we need stimulus. Listen to this. Okay? Economists at this time are saying that we would need stimulus to be introduced into the U.S. economy to get us out of the recession. Some say we're already in a recession. That's part of the problem. They say the U.S. is not equipped to manufacture everything here in the United States and not import any goods or materials. As a result, imposing tariffs on other countries is not the best thing to do, especially as we could potentially already be in a recession or we are slipping closely into that recession. They also say, as a result, we have to stimulate the U.S. economy somehow. That is where additional rounds of stimulus checks will come into play. But it would not be for every single American. According to Newsweek, James Fishback has been pretty clear that the last time we received stimulus, everybody was receiving it. Those $1,200 checks, everybody was getting them. Those $600 checks, seems like everybody was getting them. The $1,400 checks, again, everybody was getting them. Previous stimulus checks were given out to undocumented immigrants and also people in prison. Not every single round, but some were. They say this round would be different. People in prison would not be getting a stimulus check. Their family would also not get that stimulus check. Also, undocumented immigrants wouldn't receive it either, and potentially their family wouldn't receive it either. Look at this. Okay, I want to show you this. This is from March 9th, 2021. Okay, this is almost 4 years ago. It says undocumented migrants won't get stimulus checks for third time around. It says Congress did make some progress in being more inclusive of immigrant families. As was the case with the December legislation, Congress will allow Americans married to undocumented people to receive stimulus checks. And for the first time, U.S. citizen children of undocumented parents who filed taxes with individual tax identification numbers are also eligible. This means 2.2 million additional people, kids with Social Security numbers with undocumented immigrant parents, will be able to get stimulus payments. Yeah, that right there was from 2021. I want to be very clear, that was 2021. In 2025, things could be very different. That means people that are married to an undocumented immigrant may not get stimulus. They may not get a stimulus check. Okay? Also, children of undocumented parents might not get a stimulus check either. This means U.S. citizen children. All right? So I just want to be very clear on that right now. This is still something that they're discussing, but according to Newsweek, they're saying that James Fishback is making it pretty clear that if you are an undocumented immigrant, you would not receive any type of stimulus. Now, over the past 24 hours, We've been hearing a lot of reports that this is something that they are really looking into. But over the last 24 hours, we've also seen President Trump really push for the tariffs on automotive. So that's obviously a big issue. But we're trying to figure out, and this is where economists are pretty much trying to hurry up and wait, which is exactly what they did and lawmakers did in 2020 and 2021 as well. They were all on the hurry and wait approach. Like, hurry, let's put something out, but let's wait to pass it, because right now they want to see what tariffs are going to do. And according to multiple reports, many economists are just waiting until the tariffs go into effect on April 2nd, and then they have to wait like 6 to 8 weeks. So sometime in May to June, we are going to get some of the hard data numbers, and that's going to tell us where the economy's headed. So at this time, all I can tell you is right now we are just waiting for the middle of May. So we're waiting for that. We're waiting to see what happens with inflation, what the Federal Reserve is going to do if the United States does dip into a recession, and how deep and how long is this going to go. That, again, we just don't know. But that's why it's so important that these stimulus checks may be coming out sooner rather than later. According to some, they're saying that no, these are going to be pushed back until the summer of 2026. But again, many Democrats say no. If we are going to get something done as far as some type of stimulus, it needs to happen now. Because if they wait until 2026, some are saying that no, that's too late, that's too close to the midterm election. And then that's just going to be just a game, a political game that many lawmakers are going to play. Just tell their constituents that, hey, I got you this stimulus check, so vote for me. When in reality, that might not be the case. So we'll see what happens, but that is what we know as of today. So again, thank you guys for watching. Consider subscribing, and I'll see you guys on the next one.